Welcome back. Have you ever given any thought about making sure that your table saw blade is aligned properly? Well, today I'm going to talk about the importance of doing just that. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do the blade alignment on a contractor style saw like this older Craftsman model 113. Since Craftsman has always outsourced the manufacturing of their table saws, you'll find similar designs on several other brands of table saws. Not only is it easy to do with tools you most likely already have, but it's essential in maintaining accuracy and maybe even more importantly, helping to reduce dangerous kickback on your table saw. To be honest, I wasn't thinking about blade alignment when I was making my last video, which was about showing the features of the POWERTEC Crosscut sled. But a comment by a viewer about that video got me looking into the importance of aligning the blade and keeping it that way. Our initial thoughts about blade alignment might be about accuracy, which is important. But as I was looking into it, I also realized how important it is to avoid kickback by eliminating pinching of the workpiece. This can happen when the back end of the blade is angled inward towards the fence as the workpiece travels through the cut. As you can see, and I'm over-exaggerating it a little bit, if this was the angle of your blade, once your workpiece enters into the cutting and gets pinched, it could easily cause kickback back in your direction. It really doesn't have to cost a lot to align your blade. If you want a measured readout, you can buy an alignment gauge with a dial or digital indicator. But for less money, and even zero cost if you already have one, you can use an accurate combination square. Since I'm always looking to spend the least amount of money, I'll show you the low-cost method of aligning your blade using the combination square. So first of all, make sure that your table saw is unplugged. Then go ahead and raise your blade all the way up. And while you're checking your blade for alignment, you might as well take a second, check your blade, make sure it's 90 degrees from the tabletop. Next, you want to check that your blade is not bent or warped. So take your combination square, hold it tight against the inside edge of your miter slot closest to the blade, and run it down alongside the blade. If you see a big difference as you're turning the blade, you'll have to install a new blade before you proceed with the alignment. To begin checking the alignment of the blade, take your combination square once again against the inside edge of the miter slot and extend your combination square so it's barely touching one of the teeth. Move it across, back and forth on that tooth, and note the sound and the feel that that has, because you're going to want to match that on the other end of the blade. Now mark that tooth that you just referenced. Rotate the blade so that same tooth is at the other end, and then we can repeat that procedure with the same tooth. And this alignment looks pretty good, so I won't be needing to make any adjustments. But I will show you how to do the alignment on a contractor saw like this one. Making adjustments for the blade alignment will be different depending on the type of table saw that you have. This type of saw, like my Craftsman, are considered contractor saws. The other type of table saw is the cabinet saw. These saws are larger, more permanent installations that are normally found in large workshops. I've gone ahead and removed the motor and the drive belt from the mounting bracket back here, which is easy to do and gives you much better access. For contractor saws like my old Craftsman here, the carriage that holds the blade arbor is attached to the underside of the table with two brackets that are called trunnions. One parallel to the back of the table here and one parallel to the front of the table, which is a little bit harder to see from the motor opening back here. The trunnions are bolted to the table through oversized or oblong holes in the trunnions. This allows you to loosen the bolts, move the trunnions to the left or right to correct the alignment of the table saw blade. Generally, the trunnions on contractor saws will have 2 bolts on each trunnion. I say generally because this Craftsman saw has 3 bolts on each trunnion. The rear trunnion and bolts are easily accessed from the back of the saw, as you can see here. The bolts on the front trunnion will be easier to access from the bottom opening on the saw. So, in order to loosen the bolts on the front trunnions from underneath, you're going to have to use an extension on your socket. Since this front trunnion is not as easy to get to as the one in the back, leave one of the bolts snug, but not tightened up all the way. This will now serve as a pivot point, and you won't have to move this trunnion, which would be difficult to do with no direct access. Then you can loosen the bolts on the rear trunnion and move it in the direction needed to square the blade. Move the trunnion a little bit at a time by tapping with a rubber mallet. Alternate between making adjustments on the rear trunnion and checking the blade until proper alignment has been made. Then you can go ahead and retighten all your bolts. Not being familiar with adjusting the tabletop of a cabinet saw, I really can't offer more information on aligning those types of saws. However, there are other videos online that specifically address aligning those saws. So that'll about do it today for how to go about aligning your saw blade on a contractor type saw. So I really hope you found the video helpful. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, which really helps out the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.